What does it mean for a university to be a leader in its field? Is it the quality of its research? The brilliance of its professors? Or is it something else entirely? We've heard many definitions of what makes a school great, but at Harvard, we have a unique answer. It means being a beacon of opportunity. Since our founding, we have striven to open doors and welcome talented students from around the world. Of course, it hasn't always been easy. There are times we fell short of our aspirations. But by confronting these challenges head-on, we can continue to perfect our definition of crimson excellence. This is Harvard. And now we're continuing our exploration of Harvard's history with Chapter 9, Opening Doors. After decades of exclusion, Harvard finally admitted its first black students in 1924. But while this marked a significant step forward, they were exceptions rather than the norm. It would be another 35 years before a second African-American student was admitted. Meanwhile, women had even fewer opportunities. For most of Harvard's early history, they could not enroll as undergraduates. Although a small number attended classes in the 19th century, it wasn't until 1879 that Harvard officially sanctioned the admission of women. But there was a catch. They could only enroll in the newly established Radcliffe College, a separate women's institution affiliated with Harvard. While Radcliffe provided access to Harvard courses, it was still considered a second-class institution with inferior facilities. But this situation began to change during World War II, when women filled positions traditionally held by men and proved their ability to excel in academic settings. In 1945, the newly appointed Radcliffe president, Mary Bunting, challenged the status quo, arguing that the separation of Radcliffe and Harvard was no longer tenable. She called for coeducation, the integration of male and female students across all schools and colleges. For a time, however, the faculty rejected her proposal, so Bunting took an even bolder step. In 1949, she invited several hundred female alumni from across the country to sign a petition supporting coeducation. And it worked. The following year, the faculty voted to admit women to graduate school. Then in 1963, they voted to fully integrate the college, allowing women to enroll at Harvard as undergraduates. While this marked a major victory, the fight for gender equality at Harvard did not end here. You see, although the undergraduate experience was now coeducational, much of campus life was still segregated. Women were still largely excluded from final clubs, the social organizations that played a central role in extracurricular life. And despite a few token appointments, no woman had ever served on the prestigious board of overseers that governed Harvard. By the late 1960s, however, the civil rights movement was gaining momentum, and women began demanding a greater say in how they were represented at Harvard. In 1969, after several hundred students occupied the administration building, the university agreed to admit women into final clubs. 2 years later, it appointed its first female tenured professor, and in 1977, it elected its first woman to the board of overseers. The fight for racial equality also continued. In the 1960s and 70s, the Black Student Union advocated for a separate black house, where students could live and socialize outside of the predominantly white residence halls. Administrators resisted their demands, concerned that such a facility would foster racial segregation. But in 1971, after several months of debate, they relented and created a cultural center open to students of color. This new space allowed minority students to forge community and pursue initiatives that celebrated their heritage. It also gave them a platform to advocate for change and push back against racism, both on campus and in the wider world. In the years since, Harvard has continued to expand and enrich these resources. Today, we have over 50 cultural organizations serving students of color, as well as the Black Men's Forum, which provides academic support and mentorship to African American men. Together, they help ensure that every student has the opportunity to succeed and make the most of their experience at Harvard. Yet despite these advances, the path toward diversity and inclusion has not been straightforward. In the late 1980s and early 90s, for instance, Harvard's financial aid practices came under fire. In 1990, the New York Times published an investigation detailing how wealthy donors could skirt need-blind admissions by paying hefty donations in exchange for admitting their children. This practice forced administrators to reconsider how they communicated about financial aid, ultimately leading to greater transparency and a reaffirmation of the university's commitment to need-blind admissions. Throughout our history, there have been other hurdles along the way. Whether the uneven application of financial aid or inconsistent enforcement of anti-discrimination policies, but each challenge has pushed us closer to our ideals and helped pave the way for more students to access a Harvard education. We have long recognized that diversity is essential to academic excellence. By welcoming students from different backgrounds, perspectives, and experiences, we create an environment where everyone can learn and grow. That is why we've made it a priority to recruit a diverse pool of applicants and support them once they arrive on campus. Today, we are proud to have one of the most diverse student bodies of any university in the nation. Our class of 2026, for example, includes students from 127 countries and every U.S. state. 14% identify as Hispanic, 13% as Asian American and Pacific Islander, 8% as Black, and 6% as Native American, and 13% identify as LGBTQ+. These numbers are important. They reflect a deliberate effort on our part to create a more inclusive and representative community. But even as we celebrate our progress, we know there is still more work to be done. As Harvard's 10th president, I'm committed to ensuring that every member of our community feels a sense of belonging. We will continue to recruit a diverse pool of applicants and support them once they arrive on campus. And we will continue to confront issues of inequality and discrimination whenever they arise. Together, we can make Harvard the most inclusive and welcoming university in the world. Harvard has long been a place where brilliant minds come together to push the boundaries of knowledge. But what does it mean for a university to be at the forefront of academic excellence? Is it the quality of its research, the brilliance of its professors, or is it something else entirely? At Harvard, we believe that true excellence is defined by our ability to open doors and welcome talented students from around the world. Sure, it hasn't always been easy. There are times we fell short of our aspirations, but by confronting these challenges head-on, we can continue to perfect our definition of crimson excellence. And here's how you can be a part of that legacy. First, we encourage you to connect with us on social media. Join the conversation and follow our channel to get updates on our latest videos. Second, we invite you to explore our website, learn about our history, mission, and values, and stay informed about current events. Finally, we encourage you to engage with us directly. Share your thoughts, ask questions, and make your voice heard. Your engagement helps us tell the story of Harvard to a broader audience and strengthens our connection with the passionate members of our global community. Thank you for joining us as we continue to write the next chapter in Harvard's history. Together, we can keep our doors open and ensure that Harvard remains a beacon of opportunity for generations to come.